Hey guys, it's Monica at Academic Phoenix Plus, and welcome to the final video in Bifrost and how to create water bending. This video is sponsored by Autodesk, the creators of Maya, so I'm really excited that they reached out and are sponsoring this video on how to create Bifrost. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this video. Let's go ahead and continue on because we already created our water. We also have exported it as an alembic, and now we're ready to render it out. All right, so last time we had this, my character, and you saw the little kitty cat head, and it is emitting water, and it follows this curve, and we have already exported a mesh, right, the alembic. So now because I'm actually really excited that Autodesk sponsored this, I decided to update my character to make her look a little bit more magical. So let me open up that file because I have updated her texture. So here she is with her typical outfit, and let's make some magic. And just like that, magical calico is here. So she's got the exact same animation. She's got the orb, but now she's got some emissive. She still has a cute little cat stockings, and she's still a magical cat girl. I textured her in Substance Painter. And she even has some frosted tips. So I had a little fun. And she glows. So let's see what she looks like. This is what I love about 3D modeling, is that you can just completely change the character. I mean, this is what she looked like before, and just with some updated textures, this is what she looks like. Same UVs, nothing's changed. The only thing I did was replace her textures, and it just looks... it's just cool. I just love 3D. Okay, now that we have this, let's import our water. So let's go to File, Import. This is in the cache, Alembic. Let's bring that in. And it's cray-cray, but we have the water. I can rewind it. I can fast forward, so the mesh is working really well. Now, the only issue I have is that I don't have the magical head, so I'm going to have to bring that in. But let's go ahead and assign a new material. I'm going to use an Arnold AI standard surface. Don't forget to label. This is going to be my water shader. And again, we do have a preset. So if you want to go to the top right and go to presets, clear water, replace, you're more than welcome to. It just makes things a little bit easier. I couldn't see the mesh, so let me go ahead and turn that on, which is a little crazy to see, but I just wanted to kind of get a better angle here. And let's see what that looks like here. Pretty neat. There she is. All right, so we have the water. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and save this. All right, so let me go back into my original file. I'm going to select the curve and the cat head, and I'm going to export it. So let's go to File, Export Selection. And I don't need it to be an OBJ. I actually can just use an ASCII file. So feel free to grab an ASCII file, which is all the way at the top, or Maya binary, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to call this the cat animation. All right, now I'm going to open up the other file. There she is. And now I'm going to go to File, Import, and import. This is under my scenes, and this is the cat animation. And there it is. Now the cat is in the picture. Yay! Things are moving forward. Awesome. So let's see what happens around here. Going to put that cat head right over here, and let's see what that looks like in a render. All right, great. The cat head is there. It's animated. You got your little sphere. We've got our object here, which is looking great. Let's go ahead and start lighting it. I'm assuming she's going to be outside. I like to go to a website called HDRI Haven. And in HDRI Haven, you can go to HDRIs, and there are a ton of beautiful HDRIs. And these are great because you get a range of types of lighting. Now, this is for outdoor lighting. I don't recommend this for indoor lighting, but since my character's outside, this is kind of ideal. It really depends what type of lighting do you want. Do you want studio lighting? Do you want nature? Do you want evening? I'm going to go for sunrise, sunset, because what happens is that you get these really nice long shadows and some really nice coloring. And I personally like things like outdoor lighting in the forest versus, well, actually, this one's nice too. Versus a city and things like that. It really depends what you're trying to achieve. It's amazing that this is for free. I have to say that it is amazing. So thank you, HDRI Haven. Oh, they have Patreon. So please support them. Okay, I don't get anything back from them, just FYI, but I do think this place is great. So I'm going to download a few of them. So let me go ahead and scroll down. I'm okay with just downloading the 2K version. So again, you can just save it. And just because I'm going to test a couple of lighting scenarios, let's go for maybe something a little warmer. Really pretty. Let's download this one as well. And again, I'm going to test these out so that I can, just so I can get a different look, see what type of, what's the best lighting for my character. It's kind of nice too. I love that they do this because this is what I look at. All right, let me go ahead and save this as well. And this is in my downloads. So I'm going to copy them into my source images and maybe call it an HDRI file. Back in here, I am going to delete this dome light and I'm going to go to Arnold Lights Sky Dome. So what this dome light does is that it emits light in a sphere, and you can see that if you don't attach a file, it looks really plain. So let's go to color of our sky dome. Let's click on this little output connection, go to file, let's go to that little folder, and here's my HDRI, and I'm just curious if this is actually going to work. I'm going to grab the EXR file. It automatically changed it to raw, which is exactly what I want. So let's see what that looks like when we render it. So you can see that it's nice. You get some nice long shadows. You can see that the highlight is really getting affected here, which is great. That's exactly what I want. We can see my little cat. You can see the water capturing all the refractions, and it's catching all the reflections in the background. If you wanted to, you can select a sky dome, and let's say you're interested in maybe having the light hit the character in a different way. You can, in fact, rotate the dome. I personally like where it is, but you can if you want to. I mean, it just kind of changes where the shadows and lighting is going to go. So that's one. Now, I'm not a big fan of the background. I find it very distracting. So what I'm going to do is select my sky dome, scroll down and go to camera and turn it off. Now, what it's going to look like, and I'm going to take a screen capture, is that things are going to get dark. But really, it's still emitting the same light and it's still emitting the same refractions, but you just won't see the background. So here it is. You can see that the light, the refractions are everything is still the same. It's just the background is gone. And it's nice because that means if I take a look at the alpha, I'll be able to put any background I want in post. So that being said, let's take a look at some other lighting ideas. So I'm going to scroll back up. I'm going to click here, go to that little folder. I also had this Brit sunrise, so I'm going to choose that. Double check to make sure your color space is in raw, and let's see what that looks like. All right, so this is really intense lighting. I'm not a fan of the way it looks. I do kind of like the water reflection though, the refraction that you see here. So what I can do is go in here and change the intensity. So if I change the intensity to about half, let's see what that looks like on our character. So this is looking significantly better. It's not blown out anymore. I'm going to take a snapshot just so I can compare my lighting. And I really like the way the refractions are working. I like the way everything's looking. I like the soft light on her. So this is promising. Again, I'm not too convinced about some of the direct lighting, but let's see what some other ones look like. So let's grab another file, my third one, table, mountain, and see what that looks like when I render. Now, one of the things that I do a lot is that I render a really pixelated version. And the reason why is because I can already tell that the lighting is too dark. So let me go back to my intensity and just change it back to default of 1 and see what that looks like. All right, so these are my 3 choices. I'm taking a snapshot of that as well. So I have 1 and 2 and then 3. I did not take a snapshot of this one, but you can see that I've got different types of colors. It's really, again, this is an artist's choice. This is why lighting is so powerful, is that it really depends what type of mood you're going for. Do you want to be like outside? Do you want it to refract green? Do you want it to look more like this? Or do you want it to look more like blue? So different colors, different moods. It's very interesting. I personally think, I have a hard choice here. I think I dig the blue one a little bit more. It's a little too light. I'm going to increase the intensity to maybe a 1.3 just so I can get it a little brighter. But I do like how the blue is affecting my character and it makes it feel a little cooler. All right, I'm starting to get a nice lighting here. Let me increase it to 1.5. And I'm going to make a couple of changes because I find this floor to be distracting. I am going to add a cylinder instead. Let me go to my inputs here and increase my subdivision heights. Make it nice and large so she's standing on it. Let's see. I like the look of this camera angle. So I'm going to select my perspective camera and do a Control D, which is going to duplicate it. And I'm going to call it this my render cam. And I'm going to move over. Over here is my render cam, which you can't. There it is. I'm going to make it just bigger so we can see it later. I'm going to select let's go to panels, perspective, render cam, and select the camera and lock it. So you're going to see over here under render cam, this gray boxes, that means that it is locked. So now I'm going to go to panels, perspective, perspective, and I can do a little bit of changes here. So for example, I'm interested in shift double click, shift double click, shift double click. Just kind of scaling this up. I'm going to grab the edge here and just kind of make it a little bit larger, or I can make it sink it a little bit, and I can make this one sink a little bit too. Person number 3 on the keyboard. Maybe make this a little larger so it looks like she's actually standing on something. Quick little model here. Person number 1. I'm going to get rid of the grid temporarily, and I'm just going to give myself a couple of beveled edges here. So shift right click, bevel. I'm going to reduce my fraction, increase my segments. Let's see what that looks like in the render cam. Again, I'm just trying to make sure that the corner edges were a little bit too distracting. So I just want to make sure that we get a nice render. So I will be right back. There you go. So it's definitely less distracting than a sharp edge. And you can see the nice lighting, refractions, and everything. It's looking pretty sweet. Starting to lose her emissive glow. So let me open up my attributes here of my character and increase my emission here because I want to make sure that it glows. And then I might reduce this back to 1.3 just because I want it to be slightly darker just so I can see some of her cool magical powers. Let's grab this sphere here, and I'm going to increase my emissiveness again. And again, I'm going to increase my transmission just to make it look a little bit more magical. All right, let's go to our render settings. And I am going to be rendering this out as a TIFF format because I don't have any type of render layers that I need to export or anything like that. So I'm going to choose a TIFF. I am going to call this render and then do a backslash. So that means that it's going to create a folder called render. And then this can be my magic girl or magic calico render. I personally don't like any compression, so I'm going to say none. Over here under frame number animation extension, let's go to name number extension. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 3. I'm going to scroll down. End frame 10, that's not enough. Let's change this to 120. So basically my animation will end around 120. So because anything past that, the animation just basically stops. So it's going to be 120. Let me change this to 120 so I don't get confused. I'm going to keep scrolling down. I just want the render cam, so make sure you turn that off. And I'm going to do a higher quality. Now, for you guys and your portfolios, I'd probably would say go to 1080. I'm going to just do 720. And then I'm ready to go into my Arnold render. So the Arnold render is the place where it's going to take the longest to render. So keep that in mind. But this is also the area where it's going to really improve the quality of your render. So right now it's fairly noisy, I would say, especially when it comes to the specularity. And I know the quality of the render can be significantly better. So what I'm going to do is increase this to about a 4, and then all of these are going to be changed to a 3. I am going to increase my transmission into a 4 because I do in fact have water, and transmission is going to be really important to have high quality. I don't really have subsurface, so I'm going to drop that. I'm also don't have volumetric. I'm going to turn on adaptive sampling. I'm going to change this to about a 7 so that it'll bounce back from 4 to 7. And there is a ray depth, so just make sure that that's a little bit higher. So I'm going to go ahead and increase my ray depth as well because that's going to increase the quality of my renders as well. Now, if you guys are interested, there is a motion blur. You can enable a motion blur, and what it will do is that it will blur the animation. So because I just increased all of my settings, this will take a little bit longer to render, but in general, motion blur just kind of adds an extra quality to your render. So I'm going to leave it at default, but motion blur is always kind of nice. And that being said, it is basically ready to render. So what the next part is to make sure that you go under rendering, and you're going to go to render sequence and go to the options. Again, you just want to make sure you're in the camera you want to render. And you also want to check on your render settings that it is going to export in your images. So make sure you set your project correctly and that it's going to render in images. And that being said, you just click on render sequence and close, and it will be ready to render. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. It's going to take a while to render because this is a high quality render and it's going to take some time. For you, it will be a second. For me, it will be probably a couple hours. But I'm going to go ahead and hit pause, and we'll be right back with a render. So I will see you in a little bit. And there you have it, a whole night just rendering away one frame at a time. And now I have 120 glorious frames ready to be turned into a movie. So I'm going to double click on this, and you're going to see that the background is transparent. And if I kind of scrub through, you're going to see the animation. But this isn't any fun. Let's make it into an actual movie. So I am currently in Encoder. Adobe Media Encoder, and I'm going to click on this little plus sign. Just select the first one. It will automatically choose a TIFF image file sequence. Click open, Sesame, and then I'm going to keep it at a high bit rate, H.264. This is the area where you get to tell it where you want the movie to be. Lucky for us, Maya provides a bunch of folders, and one of them is called movies. So this is the perfect place to put it. I'm going to call this Magic Calico. Click save and then hit the little play button at the top right. Watch the magic happen over here at the bottom right. You'll notice that her background is black because there is no background. So just keep that in mind. You can always bring it into After Effects or Premiere to add your own background. Just gonna let it do its thing, and once that's done, I'll be able to show you the movie. Done. All right, let's click up there. Here it is, double click. Whee! There you go. And there you have it, everybody. And that is how you can create some water bending using a cat head, using all sorts of different methods, how to export the water mesh and then bring it into a file. And we also talked about lighting and rendering and how to make it into a movie. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. Let me know by leaving a comment below. I always appreciate your feedback. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more of these, please like and share. And of course, subscribe. Those are all messages from you to me, letting me know that you like these videos and that you want to see more. So please like, subscribe, and share, especially if you know an artist out there that could really use this in their project. Don't forget to take a look at academicphoenixplus.com, where you can find free downloads, free trainings, ebooks, and so much more. So take a look at academicphoenixplus.com. And again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to being with me and exploring Bifrost in Maya. I find it a lot of fun. I find it very interesting, and you can create some really cool stuff with it. So again, thank you for watching. Keep creating, and I will see you next time.